Good morning, students. Today we are going to learn the new lesson number 6, animal classification. So, before starting the lesson, let's see which topics we are going to learn in this lesson. That is history of animal classification, then new methods or systems of animal classification, and the whole kingdom Animalia. So the question is that which criteria are used for classification of organisms? So as we learned last year, how do we classify the plants? So we used such methods such as in plants, their structure, their function, their cells, or their either they are unicellular or they are multicellular, isn't it? So such criteria are used to classify the plants. So in this way, we can use the criteria to classify the organisms, including all microbes, animals, or plants, whatever. So, to classify the organisms, the living organisms can be classified on the basic characters, such as either nucleus is present or not, either they are unicellular or multicellular, or cell wall is present or not, what will be the mode of nutrition in plants, animals, and microbes, isn't it? So on all these characters or all these basic things we can classify the organisms. So let's start the lesson. As we have studied the classification of living organism in earlier classes also, here we are going to learn the living organisms present around us are mainly plants and animals. And we have studied the criteria of classification also last year. So let's classify the living organisms into various things as this table is given here. So we can solve this table on the basis of various criteria, such as on the basis of nucleus. So eukaryotics and prokaryotics will be the first classification of living organisms. So in prokaryotes, kingdom Monera is there. Only one kingdom is there where nucleus is absent. In prokaryotes, nucleus is absent, but nucleus like structure is there. Okay, DNAs are present, but true nucleus, the conformed nucleus, is absent in prokaryotes. Now in eukaryotes, what will happen? Animals or plants are divided into unicellular organisms and multicellular organisms. In unicellular organisms, we can include the kingdom Protista, isn't it? In multicellular organisms, we can include plant and animals. So, kingdom Plantae and Animalia. Okay. So, next classification in plants, that is either they are what we can say autotrophs or they are heterotrophs. So autotrophs plants are included in Plantae and heterotrophic organisms are included in fungi. And in case of animals, kingdom Animalia is considered. So again question has been arised that how the plants are classified. How the plants are classified? Again, plants are classified on the basis of presence or absence of organs. That means which organs are present in primitive plants like algae or like thallophytes, like bryophytes, organs are not present. True organs are not present. Developed organs are not present. Root, stem, leaves, flowers, fruits, seeds, all these organs are not present. So we can include them into thallophyta. And when the organs are present, that means fruit, leaves, stem, and all fruit, seed, flower, etc. If all organs are present, we can include them in flowering plants or gymnosperms or angiosperm, that means they are in higher plants. Okay, so in this way we can classify the plants on the basis of presence or absence of organs or presence or absence of separate. Okay, so as we have studied the plants classification in last year, it will be helpful for us in this year also to classify the animals. So you must be looking varieties of animals around you. Some animals are too small, whereas some animals are too big. Small animals, we can say amoeba, paramecium, and big animals are there, elephant, giraffe, isn't it? So some animals are terrestrial, whereas some animals are aquatic. So we can classify as terrestrial animals, aquatic animals, isn't it? So some animals have scales on their skin, or some animals have feathers or hairs on their skin. So on this basis also we can classify the animals, such as scaly animals, panmanzar, isn't it? Then snake, and in case of feathers, aves are there, birds, and in case of hairy animals, all mammals, aswal ahe, human being ahe, isn't it? So in this way, there is a huge diversity among animal too, as we have seen the diversity of plants, but here today we are going to see the diversity of animals. So huge, that means approximately 7 millions variety of animals are there on the earth. So it is impossible to study each and every species. How could we learn 7 million animals? So we have to classify them into various groups, so that our study will be easy. फॉर आवर कन्वीनियंस इट विल बी ईजी टू क्लासीफाई देम. अगर हम एक ही एनिमल को पढ़ते हैं उस ग्रुप के, तो हमको बाकी एनिमल्स के भी कैरेक्टर समझ में आ जाते हैं. सो it is impossible to study each and every species. However, if groups and subgroups of animals are formed, depending on their similarities or depending on their differences, it will make our study easy.